Foundations, Part 1, Basic Concepts. The foundation is a summary of all the structures on which the rest of the structure is built. Its function is to carry all the loads of the building and transfer them to the load-bearing soil. Further requirements for the foundation: allow the building to sink as little as possible. Prevent uneven subsidence, avoiding destructive stresses. Resist water pressure and frost effects. To achieve this, it is important to keep the following 5 rules in mind when designing and constructing the foundation. 1. The foundation plane must be below the load-bearing plane of the soil, if feasible. 2. The foundation plane should be above the water level to avoid problems from water pressure. 3. The foundation should be below the frost line, to avoid the risk of ice flows lifting the foundations and causing stress settlements. 4. The footings should be spaced sufficiently apart so that they do not load on each other, but on the subsoil. When built adjacent to existing structures, foundation planes should be brought together. The above objectives cannot be fully achieved in all cases, so more complex and material-intensive designs should be used instead of simpler flat foundations, and deep foundations should be used for particularly heavy soils. Shallow foundations. The types of shallow foundations are: a typical foundation for a masonry building is a strip foundation under the walls of the building. Typically, it is cast in the excavated foundation pit, but it can also be made with formwork. The typical solution for pillared buildings is spread footing, which may be brick body, stepped or sloped footing. There is also a well-established prefabricated solution. On monolithic brick bodies, prefabricated cups hold the prefabricated columns. Similarly to strip foundations, it may be justified to join the point foundations into a single beam, but it is more common for static reasons to join in both directions, creating a rigid grid foundation. In the case of high groundwater levels, a continuous monolithic reinforced concrete raft of mat foundation may be required, which can be further strengthened by a grid foundation. Deep foundations. Deep foundation solutions are needed when there is insufficient bearing soil near the surface, or when there is a risk of slippage due to water runoff. In summary, foundations deeper than 3 m are called deep foundations. They are of the following types. Shaft foundations are typically used for 3 to 6 foundation depths. Pile foundations can extend up to 20 meters deep. Structural calculations typically take into account the transfer of load through the casing wall, even if this is above the level of the load-bearing soil. The reinforced concrete slabs of the diaphragm walls can extend up to 40 m, forming a continuous boundary around the building, thus providing a drainage method and allowing for the creation of multi-level utility spaces.